What's good, nieces and nephews? I make this video as I wait for my dough to rise before I bake my daily bread. I'm finally answering the question that y'all been asking about what is the problem with our situation right now as a country, as a republic. And the best way I can answer it is that we have a justice problem. It starts from someone being a liar who ends up becoming a lawyer, who ends up becoming an advocate, who ends up becoming a judge or a magistrate, who ends up ruling us via backdoor. So now, the traits of a person like that will always pour into his work. Therefore, their vices will also be easier for the enemy to learn and to be able to get. And once people who want to control this country get the vices of the people who are supposed to be safeguarding us, then they end up ruling us. Because once you rule him, if he's a judge, you rule over us, especially if you're a constitutional judge. The problem that we face as a country is that our judicial system has been broken. And it seems like it's been broken for good, but it's not. It's quite easy to fix. We need to just replace the entire bench with new faces, new people, people that have not worked there for years, people that are not linked to anyone. It's quite easy. It's easier than you think. It's just that the way that corruption has entrenched itself in our system seems like it's a long ways away, or it's a difficult fight. It's a very easy fight. It's like firing a soccer coach. So our judges, I believe, are compromised, and I believe it's 80% of them, because the 20% are not talking. So I would say that it's 80% of them. And the good ones carry on with their jobs. You never hear stories about them. They try cases and they win. But for the most part, our judges are corrupt, just like our lawyers. In fact, 90% of our lawyers are corrupt in this country. And I'm talking about prosecution and defense, because we've always seemed to blame police for the problems that we face as a country, the problems with safety, the problems with, in general, crime. The criminal commits a crime. The policeman goes and catches a criminal, takes the criminal to a judge. A judge releases a criminal on bail, or just releases them, tolinje. Just because they have other cases, we can't look at this one. And it's apparently a case-by-case basis. Yet we've now seen that our judicial system has got two systems going into it. There are people with no money, and then there are people with money. There's two crimes. There's one that you can afford and one you can't. And the ones that commit the most crimes, like the biggest crimes, crimes that impact lives, where people die because of these crimes, they don't seem to ever get caught. It's like how the Americans would say white collar crime. It kills more, but it gets less. All right? The people who are supposed to be politicians, the people who are supposed to be holding our judiciary up and holding our country together, are the ones who seem to be destroying it, because our judges are useless. I will say this, I'm not scared of them. I'm not going to try to be a lawyer. I'm not going to go for a bar exam, which I could probably pass at this rate. With all the people that are in charge right now, it doesn't seem like we have any jurists or any jurists or any jurisprudency or whatever, because it seems like people who have enough money get to skip the law, and people who don't get to get into the law, and they never get removed from the system. That is actually the only problem that we have. A cop catches a criminal and a judge lets him go, period. The prosecutor and the defense usually have worked this thing out a long time ago before anything happens. So I also place the blame upon them. We don't seem to have a zest or a zeal for ukulungiswa in this country. Anyone who can get away with anything, we seem to clap hands for. I don't understand where it came from, but I think when I jot it down, it comes from politics. When politics started bleeding from the political arena into the judicial arena, or into the arena of true law, it blurred all the lines. Because now a person is not lying, they're just politically speaking. And what I know is that a lie can, back in the day, a lie could get you in jail. A lie, destroying someone's reputation, lying about how much your company is making, or lying about what your product is doing to people, to the consumers, lying about research. All of that I thought was something that would be prosecutable. And it was the case back in the day. But now, seems like the law is about how much money you have. And I will not lie, it starts at the Constitutional Court. When the Constitutional Court of this country started choosing sides, started picking sides, then everything went to shit. Because the way they treated President Zuma is not the way they're treating this president right now that we have, Usirap, the Ramaphosa. So that was the problem that we had when the judges started wearing political caps, which allowed the magistrates to also start wearing political caps, which also allowed the cops to start choosing sides. Because now cops would arrest people on different factions, right? And NPA would also prosecute on different factions. You know, that Shamila Betoy woman is a true shining example of what our law looks like right now. Arrogant, far removed from the truth, and just blatantly disrespectful to the members of this country and citizens. She is a stern example of what happens at the highest echelons of what we call the law in this country. She is the pure example of what we don't see happening behind the scenes at these judicial, what is it? They call it, what is it called again? Chambers. Yes, at these judicial chambers. I'm sure she learns this kind of attitude from watching these deputy judge presidents and these judge presidents just being disrespectful and giving out rulings based on their feelings and not following the law. Can we go back to Busisi Mkhwebana and find out why she is still impeached when everything she was talking about by the same court that has kicked her out has now ratified it and said, yes, there is a case that this guy needs to go and stand for. But she is still kept out, and what was done to her has not been remedied. This is the problem that we face. So the police will not be able to do their job when they see that the people at the top are just going to release them. These guys, Amapoisa guys, they risk their lives every single day, shot at, driving crazy speeds to catch criminals, only to have that very same person who almost killed them walk out with no problems whatsoever. It is this reason why the Nigerians are able to disrespect us, blatantly disrespect us, sell our sisters overseas, destroy our youth, because they are in tandem and work in tandem with the police right now. Because even if the police do their job, we've seen Sizoktola every bloody Sunday. We've seen them. They take them and then 2 weeks later they're out, if not a week later. How many people? It's like cameos. Every time Xolani goes to Hillbrow and that, it's like cameos. People are coming back to do their second, on-screen debut. So that's the problem. The judges that release Katiso Molefe, the judges that refuse to issue out arrest warrants for people like Ohangwani, that's our problem. The judges that were always shouting at Zuma and trying to destroy Zuma while Steinhoff was happening. The judges that do not want us to look at all that money that was lost with Steinhoff and the banks colluding. This is our problem. And until we sort that out, we are going to keep fighting amongst each other. Because the NGOs have no power. People keep claiming NGOs. Our country is not run by NGOs. It's NGOs that are told, write this to qualify your statement, and then me as a judge, I'll ratify whatever you say. So we can't keep blaming these useless NGOs. They're useless, vele. It's the judges that give them the power. It's the prosecutors that are not holding the real criminals to account. When we see that there's a real crime happening, like probably 10 charges, and then you hit them with 2 charges and say these ones will stick, why aren't you hitting them with all 10? And then if the 2 stick, then it's fine, but you said all 8 of them or all 10 of them. Why leave out the other 8? So nieces and nephews, until we're able to find a way to scare these judges, because these judges seem to be scared of criminals more than they're scared of us. So they need to start fearing us more than they fear the criminals, because clearly we're going to be going down the drain. But I doubt that, because when you see groups like March and March, or Phakela Umthakathi, or Ngizwe, Namabhinca, and all these people coming out, they're showing this whole system is just a game. And when real people stand up, they panic. That's why they want to bring out the army. They want to bring out all sorts of things to stop the people pointing out the corruption instead of stopping the corruption. No. They want to go and carry on with the corruption unabated. Our country has a rule of law, which is something that most African countries do not follow. They write it, they say it, but they do not follow it. The Nigerian president himself has been noted by the CIA as one of the biggest drug smugglers on the planet. And no one says anything about that. No one questions, no one says anything about that. Right? The CIA knows what they're talking about because they're the number 1 biggest runners of drugs on the planet. So if they're saying that this dude is working with us or is our competition, I would believe them, because that's their domain, drugs. These are the same people that work with Abokatisa Molefe and all these other cartels, right? Either to get rid of competition or to destabilize nations, like they're working right now. There's a reason why the Juarez cartel is in Cape Town. There's a reason why the Sinaloa cartel is running around in Mpumalanga. It's to destabilize this country, to have a youth that cannot see left or right, so that they can easily rule over. So what I'm saying is that if we replace the judges, all of them, starting from the Constitutional Court, like we replace all of them, maybe leave the Madlanga gang. Why gang ya Madlanga le scheme lesya, say right lesya. Le scheme lesya ka Madlanga lesya. Scheme Madlanga, no. Scheme Khumalo, no, we're good. But the rest, they need to go. Because they also allow these weird interdicts, and they also allow things to be halted. And dude, if the law is acting against the interest of the people, it's not the law, it's criminal, period. So as I think that my dough is ready, it's time for me to make my bread, and I hope that you guys are able to understand what I'm trying to bring through. More questions can be asked and I'll give more answers, but this is the most concise way. I've tried to keep it under 15 minutes. Like, this can go on for a whole hour, but I decided to do a 15-minute version. And as you guys can see, I'm getting my pen well on. Alright, let me make my bread and start my studio work. Till next time, I peace.